All right, let's set up your Donor Elf homepage here and just some initial things. So when you open up Donor Elf for the first time, you'll see something similar to this. I've already done a few things. I've added an annual goal where it said create a goal right here, and so it started to do a little bit of math. And I have already set up a couple campaigns, but as you'll notice, like we talked about in the training, all of this stuff, this unread news feed, new donors, late donors, all of that kind of stuff is here for you, and you get to see all of that stuff. You probably have just a campership campaign already started, and if you don't, that just means you haven't had any camp scholarships come in yet, but it auto-populates into there. We've already created a goal in here, so yours may not have that. But you don't have transfers, you don't have staff, and so we will start off by creating those campaigns. Campaigns are the buckets where we are putting donations into, not contacts, but specific donations. It's because there are plenty of people that give in lots of different ways to lots of different things within each area. Best practices is to have a campership campaign, a transfers campaign. Most areas get transfers in. You can see a later video about how to set up that or to put transactions in manually. Staff campaign, so this is campership, transfer staff. You'll see we've created a couple child campaigns underneath there to show that we've got staff raising money. And so when transactions or donations, same language, come into your mission unit, you can kind of mark them and put them into these specific campaigns so you can see where everybody's at. The last one that we want to create, and I'll create it in front of you for you, is the area campaign. So we go up to add up on the top left here, campaign. We are just going to type in area. You'll see it popped up right here. And there's a couple things we want to do within the area. One of them is, they're all child campaigns, so underneath, one of them is going to be major donations. Just bear with me as I do this, but this really is sort of best practice we have found after doing this for a while. And then lastly will be events. And then you may have some specific events, you probably do. You can add child campaigns even under there, and I would recommend that you do that. So we're just going to say banquet, and we're going to add another child campaign called golf. And you may have other ones. Year end might be under there. You might have a clay shoot. You might have a, who knows, a bingo night or something like that. You can keep putting those things in there. You can put child campaigns even under here. My recommendation would be is just to keep it like this, and you just want some ease of use here. But that is how you do that. So we created an area parent campaign, and we won't create a goal quite yet. We don't have any money in there. You certainly could, but we just kind of want to get a good grasp on what we're doing. So the next step then is to start approving transactions. This kind of blinking number here that may be 100 for you, maybe 1,000 for you. It'll take a little bit of setup time here, but we want to put these transactions into these campaigns now, just like you've seen me do on some of this stuff here. So we're going to click into approve campaign transactions. You'll see on the top, group by contact or group by transaction. This group by transaction is just like it says. It's taking each individual gift based off of the date it was given, the most recent first. My recommendation is to just work in this group by contact. To me, this is an easier way to see things because it's based off of, especially on the setup part, it is based off of just the contact name and how much they've given this past fiscal year. So you'll see the contact section, right? And we got people coming down. This pledges section, which we'll talk about in a second. If there is a pledge that is recognized, like a monthly gift or something, we'll talk about that in a moment. And you'll see the transaction section. And so for Anton and Melvina, you can see this is what they have given this past fiscal year, starting in September, and just lots of things. You'll see this campaign, though, is none. And so we want to put these individual transactions into our specific campaigns. So hopefully you will know kind of what these are for. Sometimes there's a memo, like this one is a cake auction. But we're just going to click this little edit button, and we are going to put it into, we're just going to say, even though it says cake auction, we don't have a cake auction here, but we're going to put it into the banquet. We're going to save this. Turns blue, means you did everything right. We're going to just kind of keep going down. Maybe this one goes into major donations. Obviously, you would know this for your own area. And maybe this was a major donation gift as well. And this one here, we're just going to put into, maybe that was for the golf event. And maybe this one was for a specific person. Let's give that to Chad. And so as you can see, we just kind of keep going down, and this is what you're going to do for everybody and all the gifts that you've gotten. And so for these folks here, all of these are done. Either you can just kind of trust that it's done, or you can hit refresh, and we'll see them all gone here once we refresh this this list here. Takes a little bit of time for me. I have access to lots of things, but you'll see they're gone. These left to approve have also gone down, so because we have done this. So you will just kind of keep going through that. Now let's find a recurring thing, because let's make this go a little bit faster. So here, Franklin and Brianna, they give, you can see, give monthly on the 13th of every month, $1,000. That's amazing. And you could, if you wanted to, go through each individual transaction just like we did before and pop it into a campaign. But because they probably started giving this $1,000 before the fiscal year, and they will continue to do that, and the charge type here is recurring monthly, DonorElf recognizes that and puts a pledge tag to it, right? So it's over here. So we're not going to add a pledge. This is a different thing here. We don't want to add a pledge because DonorElf is already understanding that a pledge exists. A pledge just being something that we are anticipating in the future. But we want to get this entire pledge assigned to a campaign so that we don't have to go back from the fiscal year and assign some of the previous transactions. Could even be years worth of things. And we also want every future transaction to automatically kind of assign itself into a campaign. So we're going to click on this assign to campaign. Just take a quick look, right? Does this all look right? You know, the start date, it is before the fiscal year started. So this is good that we did it. There's no end date. And we're going to put this into area monthly. We're going to hit save, and what you'll see is all of these turn blue, which means you did everything right. Every once in a while, these won't turn blue, just as the system is catching up. Don't worry too much about it. You can just click refresh, and you'll see that they're gone, but the vast majority of the time, you'll see that. Now, just something to point out, you can see that this couple did give a gift outside of that, right, this $1,035 one, and it did not assign it to that recurring monthly. So you do still have to go through, and we're just going to say maybe that was for the banquet, and yeah, and there you go. That whole thing then now was assigned. Again, we can go see that too. If we go back to the home page, right, we're just going to click refresh here just because we're doing it a little fast. And in the area, you'll start to see this money going in there, right? This monthly donations coming in into the events. I mean, there's money coming in, and that's because those are the things that we have assigned into those things. And so this approved transaction thing continues to go down. The only other little bit that is very, very beneficial is we can look here. This looks like $150. Looks to me like it's coming in monthly, right? But it's kind of on different dates. And the charge type here is one time. To me, what this says is this person is sending in a check every month, wants it to be recurring, and we as an area should consider them recurring monthly donors. But so far, our systems in the past haven't really been able to catch that. But we want to catch that because we want to expect that $150 every time. And if that doesn't happen, we want the system to let us know so that we can connect with Frederick and Youette. So that is when we click this pledge button, right? When we recognize something, every once in a while DonorElf will recognize this, but when we recognize something, so we're going to hit this pledge button, it's going to sort of automatically, right, understand there's $150. We're going to click monthly because that's coming in monthly. The start date is the fiscal year because that's all we know at the moment. If we wanted to make some notes, we can, but we're just going to pop this into this area monthly donor. You can put it wherever you want, but I'm just putting it in here, because for this demo account, I want it in there. And I'm going to hit save, and you'll see it recognizes all of these gifts, right? And so now this gift from these guys is considered a monthly recurring gift, which is amazing because what it did is it populated up here under this monthly pledges, right? It will tell us if they are a late donor, right? If they don't give kind of within a couple days of when it's expecting, which is amazing. But one of the things that you can see, this review items thing popped up because it recognized that, hey, this $150 actually started in August and you had the start date in October. Do you want it to actually, do we want to change that start date? And it's like, yes, actually, I would love for you to do that. Obviously, if not, you can click no, but we'll click yes, and it just fixed it for you. And now we can just kind of continue on, right? So you don't have to keep clicking back and forth as you're approving transactions. You can just go down the list and just keep kind of moving through. But that is how you do that, so that when all of these are approved, these things will be ready to rock here. And all of this stuff, this given and expecting, will reflect reality, right? Because we want the expecting to actually reflect reality. The last thing you do is now you go in and you start creating goals, right? And so just for the sake of kind of speed, we're just going to put some easy numbers to some of these things. Obviously, don't do a banquet if you're only making $1,000. And so just bear with me as I kind of add some of these things up. And you do have to add these up, right? These child campaigns don't just add up normally, because you could put just a gift into a general event category if you wanted to. Monthly donations, we're going to do, again, I just told you we're going to try and do some easy numbers here. This is an annual goal. Just because it says monthly donations, it's always fiscal year annual goal. And major donations, we'll click 10,000. And then as we go up, we're going to put 20,000. And then we're going to do a quick refresh just because we're doing this quick, and you'll see, we're already kind of getting close to what our, quote unquote goal is. And it's just doing some math for us. Then these campaigns now outside of campership, because we just don't put that in there, will tell us that it's 105,000. And then we've got some nice little, if you hover over these things, you can see some of what these things are. So hopefully that was helpful. Keep watching some other videos for some other things, pledges and transactions and contacts and all sorts of other stuff that you can do in DonorElf, and let us know if you've got any questions. Have a great day.